how to buy a house in 2023. Hey everyone, Jeff Trevarthen here, Jeff the Mortgage Pro. Thanks so much for joining me today. I've got a great one for you, and we're going to be talking about how to buy a house this year in 2023. So there's 13 different steps in this one. Let's go through the first steps. We're going to go step by step, and we'll figure out how to get you a house this year. So number one is that we want to understand why you want to buy a house. So do you have a growing family, job change, investment in your future, whatever it is that you might want to be thinking out? Why do you want to buy a house? I think it's really important to define your goal before you actually go out and try to seek what you want to buy. Number two, what I want you to do is set a budget. Now, what do I mean by this? I want you to get a piece of paper out. On one side, I want you to write down all of your income coming in. And this is income before taxes. So do you have a job? Do you have a small business? Do you have child support? Do you have spousal support? Whatever type of income that you have, make sure you put it down on one side. And we're talking about monthly income here. So figure out how much it is that you make per month. That's your income side. And then the other side, after you put a line down the middle, is going to be your expenses. So anything like a credit card payment, a car loan payment, student loan payment, those things can all be included over there. But also think about what are the other expenses that are going to be associated with owning a home. Phone bill, cell phone bill, internet, cable, electricity, water, gas. What are the estimates for all of those things as well? Because when you buy a home and a mortgage lender qualifies you for the mortgage, they're only looking at the expenses that are on your credit report. So revolving debts, fixed debts, but we're not going to be looking at expenses that are not always necessary to have, like that phone bill or your electricity and your water and your gas. Like those things aren't included in a loan application. So the reason why we're going to have you do this budget is so that you can determine how much of a mortgage payment can you actually make. Just because you can qualify for a certain amount of mortgage doesn't mean that's what you want to pay. And the last thing that I would want to do is put you into a house and have you spending all of your money per month to be able to make that mortgage payment without having any money left over to be able to do any of the things that you want to do. Okay, so that's number two, set a budget. Number three, I want you to save for a down payment. Now, this is going to depend on what type of loan you're going to be doing. So if you're a veteran, most likely you could do a 0% down loan. If you're buying in a rural area, you could do a USDA loan with 0% down. So sometimes you don't even need a down payment. If you have a low down payment, you can do what's called an FHA loan, is another government-backed loan, and that's only 3.5% down. And then in some instances, you can do as little as 3 to 5% down for conventional loans. So you do not, the biggest myth in the world, you do not need 20% down to be able to buy a home. Now, when you're talking about jumbo financing, so loans that are bigger than your conforming loan limit in your county, across the United States, those things are going to require more down payment. Typically, 10 is a very, very minimum in most of those instances, but 15 more likely, and even better, 20% down to have more optimal terms. Those are for jumbo loans though. But think about where you're going to be buying, how much you're going to be buying, and determine how much money you need to have for a down payment and start saving for that down payment. Number four, work on your credit score. There's two things that you can do that really, really help you with mortgages. Number one, make your payments on time. That's one of the biggest factors in determining your mortgage credit based on the algorithm that we currently use for your FICO score, which is all three credit bureaus reporting to us. It's called the Tri-Merge Credit Report. Making your payments on time is a big portion of that. And then the other portion, part B of that, is to make sure that the balances that you have on your cards are under 30% optimally. And even better, you want to make sure that you pay them off every single month. So carry a zero balance on those cards if you can. The maximum you should have on those credit cards is about 50% of the overall balance. So you can change this in a couple ways. You can call your credit bureau and ask for a credit line increase, and that'll help you out to be under that 50, 30, or 0% threshold. And then if you don't do that, you have to have the cash to be able to pay those things down. So be able to do that. You could borrow money to do that. There's no paper trail that we're going to need to be able to verify that you pay those down. But those are the two things you want to do to make sure you're optimized in terms of your credit for the mortgage algorithm. And we all know that like Credit Karma and those different online credit reporting agencies are not the same as a mortgage credit report. 99% of the people that I pull credit for that have a higher credit score on a Credit Karma or a banking app, the credit score that comes in for the mortgage algorithm is always going to be just a little bit lower. And that's just because that's the algorithm. It's different than the one that they use. Okay. Number 5, get your paperwork and ready to roll, and let's get pre-approved. You want to do that through me, hopefully, providing this information for you. Happy to help you out on all those different things. We're going to come up with a plan for you based on all of those things we just talked about, but we also need paperwork to get you pre-approved. Those are things like your W-2s, your pay stubs, your bank statements, identification, and that's about it. But there's various ways in which people make income across this country. So there's definitely different documentation requirements for all those different types of income that you have. So if you have any questions about that, make sure that you reach out to me and we'll help you get what that documentation is. We'll get your loan into underwriting, get it fully underwritten, pre-approved by an underwriter, and they'll be ready to roll for you. Number 6, we want to shop for a realtor. Okay. There's a couple traits that you want to look at. What's their personality like? Do they fit with you? Are they going to help you out in that sense? Do they have a track record of success? More often than not, when I do loans, I hear people say, oh yeah, I want to use my aunt because she has a real estate license. Well, does your aunt actually do transactions? A lot of times she doesn't. So you want somebody that has experience in the market. It's one of those 80-20 things where 80% of the realtors don't do any business and 20% of the realtors do. So when you find a realtor, you want somebody that's doing in that 20% that's doing most of the business. What kind of a reputation do they have? Are they a real go-getter? Do they go out there and help you out? Or, if you talk to any of their past clients, are they just like, I don't know if I'd use this person again? Check out their Google reviews or any type of other reviews that they have online and see where they stand in terms of the reputation. And then the last thing is you want to make sure that you trust them. The trust is the biggest part when you're working with somebody. If you can build trust and you trust them to go out there and represent you in a transaction, then that's something that's going to be great for you. Now, remember, for most places in the country, you do not have to pay the buyer's agent, whereas they get paid from the seller of the property in the transaction. So they're kind of representing you for free, but just make sure that they're acting on your best interest when they're helping you find a home. Okay. Number 7, you want to go out and see multiple homes. I know a lot of people actually that go out and they buy the first home that they see. That's totally fine, but just at least have an idea of what you're looking at. When you see multiple homes, you can see some different ideas and some different variabilities of things you may or may not like. So see multiple homes. Number 8, make an offer or offers. So if you go out and make an offer on a home and it's still in a competitive type of a situation, you may not make that offer. You may have to go out and make multiple offers on different types of properties that are in your market that you like. And they may not be exactly perfect, but they're good houses for you to get started with. So go out and make offer or offers. And once you get into contract, that's awesome. Now you need to do the stuff that happens when you're inside a contract to buy real estate. And that one is number 9, which is to get a home inspection. We want to make sure that there's nothing that's going to be a deal killer with us for the property that we're going to buy. So, things that might be deal killers like, mold or asbestos or, cracked foundation. Those things can all kill the deals, especially if you don't want to pay for it. Those repairs or fixes can be upwards of $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 sometimes. And maybe you're good with that, but maybe you're not. So we want to make sure we get a home inspection to determine if there's any things that are wrong with the property that we don't want to deal with. Number 10, we want to negotiate any repairs. So after you do the home inspection, you can sometimes come back and negotiate with the seller and the seller's agent to be able to maybe lower the price, get a credit for those repairs, have the repairs done. Those are things that you can all do when you go back and renegotiate. So you want to do that if you can. Number 11, secure your financing. So the lender's going to have their process going as soon as you get into contract, and we're going to need updated paperwork, and we're going to go through underwriting, and there might be some other things that the underwriter might ask for. Provide that stuff as fast as you can back to your loan officer. Hopefully that's me, but we want to get that back because everybody usually in a transaction is waiting for the loan officer. It's always the loan officer's fault, regardless if the transaction closes on time or not. So make sure you get your documents back. We want to make sure we do the best job that we possibly can for you. Number 12, you want to do your final walkthrough. So make sure that you, when you went in there the original time and when you go back again and you look at the property and you do your final walkthrough, make sure everything is there. You don't want to have any fridges or stoves missing, or anything that was negotiated in the contract to stay in terms of personal property. Make sure that that stuff is still there. Make sure there's no other damage or anything like that before you actually turn over the rest of your money to buy this house, because this is your very last opportunity to bring up anything that could be wrong with the property when you do that last inspection and the final walkthrough. And then number 13, their last step here is to close on your transaction. You're going to sign your loan documents from your lender. You're going to put your money for the down payment into escrow. Your loan is going to fund. And then when all those things take place, then your property is going to record with the county that it's located in across the United States. And once it records, guess what? You get to get your keys for your new property. So congratulations, you did it. Those are the 13 steps on how you buy a house in 2023. If you stuck around and watched this entire video, please make sure you go down and click the like button. I really appreciate it. And in the description, you'll see a link to my link tree, which has my contact information on there for Calendly. Make sure you click on that, set an appointment with me. Love to chat with you about buying a home this year in 2023. Have a great one. Talk to you soon.